Hi everyone, I am Brian with Playing for Second, and today we are going to take a sneak peek at something that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and that is the fan factions for Terra Mystica. Now this is base game Terra Mystica, not Age of Innovation or Gaia Project, but the original OG Terra Mystica. And for me, it really revitalizes the game. I've played with a few of them on Board Game Arena, and this is going to be coming out from Capstone and Fureland. I'm not sure when. So recently, if you watch our podcast here on YouTube, about a month ago, Tim went down to CapCon in Cincinnati, which is south of where we're at in Ohio, but they went down there and took friend of the podcast, other Josh, Dan Mead, with them. And Josh came back with a gift for me, and that was the fan factions. They only had, I think he said, 2 down there, but they gave him one to give to us here so that we can show it off on the podcast. So thanks to Josh for muling this for us and getting it for us, because he's got a good relationship with them. And also thank you to Capstone for providing this. So I'm going to do my best going through here and explaining what all of the factions do. There's not a lot in here besides just the new factions, but there are a lot of new factions. So let's go ahead and get to the table here and take a look at some of these factions. All right. So like I said, this is kind of a sneak peek, not really an unboxing because they did already unbox it, but most of it are just the faction boards. So rules, which I am going to keep handy here because I read through how all they all work. I've even played some of them. That doesn't, necessarily mean that I'm going to remember it. Some of them are pretty straightforward. Some of them have quite a bit going on. So we do have new bits here. You've got your new tokens for turn order, and then all of these other bits are going to be things that I'll explain as we go through here, but there's what some of the factions use. So for the time being, I'm just going to dump the bits over here, and then we're going to get to these factions here. All right. First, let's go ahead and make these easier to grab out of the box by just getting rid of the box. Cool. All right, our first faction here are the Atlanteans. So the rule book is nice, and the rule book is in alphabetical order here. So we're just going to kind of go through what they do. And like I said, some of them I'm going to have to reference the rule book, and some of them I know kind of what they do. So the Atlanteans is actually one that I played on Board Game Arena. So their special ability is you start the game, instead of starting the game with dwellings, you'll actually start with your stronghold out. And with the stronghold out, it is also going to be the first time you build something, I believe it's going to be considered a town. So you're going to take a town tile. And you also get a special action here for 2 workers. You can build a bridge. Now, once you build your stronghold, which again is pretty much immediately, you're actually also going to then get this bonus, and it's going to be dependent upon the power level of your towns. So, or I guess I should say town singular. You can have multiple, but you're going to want to connect them, and we'll see why here. So once your town gets up to a power level of 7, you are going to get a free upgrade to your shipping track. When it gets up to a power level of 10, you're going to move 2 on all of the cult tracks. And if you get it to a power level of 16, that is going to be worth 20 points. So with the Atlanteans, you're going to want to build your separate towns, but then connect them all so you can try to get a 16-point town after that to score yourself the 20 points, which is pretty neat. They were kind of fun, but you got to go in with that mindset of build your towns close, and then you're going to be connecting them at some point to try to get, all 20 points of that to get the full benefit of what their abilities can do. So that is the Atlanteans. On the flip side, we have the Wisps. The Wisp special ability is whenever you build a trading post, you get a free terraform action adjacent to that trading post, which is kind of neat. But again, you kind of have to, and that's all the same with a lot of these, which is really nice, but you kind of have to play around that and kind of expect to build more trading posts and maybe look at your round scoring to see, hey, are we building trading posts a lot in here to score the extra points? Once you do your stronghold ability, you are going to immediately get 7 points, and you're also, hold on here, I got to check that. I think you just get to drop for free a dwelling. Yep, you're going to get 7 points, and you're going to place 1 dwelling. Now, this is kind of like the Witch's ability in the base game. You can place that on anywhere that's a lake. It does not have to be adjacent. You don't pay the 1 worker or the 2 coins. It ignores the adjacency rule and all that. So that's what you're going to get from there. Of course, obviously, as well as the income there. For the Wisps. So those guys are pretty neat. Just going to kind of move these to the side here. I don't know if it's going to be on camera or not, but we already saw that one. Okay, next. The Architects. Okay, so the Architects are going to be using bridges a lot more than at least I normally use bridges. So how their ability works, your bridges are going to contribute, and that's what it's kind of showing you down here. Your bridges contribute 1 power towards your towns whenever you have a bridge connecting those towns. You also, I'm sorry, they don't count as structures though, so you still need to have the normal amount of structures. They just effectively are worth 1 power. You're also going to, as an action, you can convert 1 priest into a bridge. And if you are terraforming and building on a space that is connected to that bridge, it is 1 less shovel, 1 less spade, which is kind of neat. That is their ability. And then the Stronghold ability, it gives you an action where you can actually move your bridges. And if you do so, you're going to get 3 points. Now, there are some extra rules to this too. There's quite a bit of rules in here. With that one, I think it still has to be connected for like the purposes of it being a town, things like that. I think it said you may not use this action in a way that would leave a town marker without meeting the 2 conditions for founding a town. So that's, but you can still kind of move it to help you terraform, and you're going to get 3 points from it and things like that as well, which is kind of cool. Treasurers, I remember really liking the treasurers. So how the treasurers work, during the income phase, you actually have this ability down here. Anything that you would normally get as income, you can put down here in this little ×2 thing. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that you probably understand what's going to happen with the ×2 thing. But you're going to put it down here instead of getting them. While they're in your treasury, you can't use them. However, before the income phase, I think it's technically at the end of the round or before the income phase, the wording is very important. Whatever you have in here, you will get in your pool to use for the following round. You'll get twice whatever you have in there. But it is not considered income. So you can't just continuously, everything you put in here, you can't double up and then double that up and then double that up. It's only during the income phase. And when you get these, it's not the income phase. So that's kind of an important note. And it's only, like I said, it's only during the income phase until you build your stronghold. Once you build your stronghold, it is any time you would get those items. So for instance, if you took the power action to get 2 workers, if you have your stronghold built, you can put those 2 workers in your treasury, and then at the end of the round, before the income phase of the following round, you would effectively get 4 workers for that. Same with money. It's money, workers, and priests. Those are what you could put in there. So, you know, the things you're using to play the game. Now, the thing of note, though, because of that, you'll see that you're going to not get dwellings on 3 of these spots, and you're not going to get anything on this spot either when you're doing your buildings. So it's, you know, making up for the fact that you're getting quite a bit. But this was one I really enjoyed because this was the only faction I played. I always struggle with money in this game. And with this faction, whenever I got income, I would take the bonus tile for like 6 income, and I would put all 6 of that in here. So the following round, I got 12. Well, because I got 12, any other money income that I would get, I would throw in here as well. So for the entire game, I actually had money, which was a nice feeling when playing this game. So yeah, those are both pretty neat. All right, I'm going to need the rule book for these guys. Both sides of this one, actually, I'm going to need the rule book for. So these are the Firewalkers. The Firewalkers, you'll notice here, they don't have any type of terraforming because they are going to be building on a volcano. So kind of similar to what is going on in the original game. So with these guys, you're going to start with 2 markers on the victory point track. Your normal victory point marker, which will start at 20, I believe is what it starts at. And then you're going to have a pyro marker. So whenever you get victory, or whenever you're moving your pyro marker up, you're also going to be getting a power. But then you're going to be spending victory points to terraform effectively. If it is another player's terrain, it's going to cost you 6 victory points. If it's not another player's terrain, it's going to cost you 4 victory points. But your victory point marker can never fall below your pyro marker. So if you ever get to the point where your pyro marker is at 20 and you bring your victory points down to 20, you can't terraform. So this one takes some pretty careful planning, which when I played them online, I did not have and didn't super like them because I played them poorly. That was a me issue, not a Firewalkers issue. On top of that, whenever you do get a shovel, or I'm sorry, you can spend 4, it's going to cost you 4 victory points to move your, I gotta look that up. I'm not sure what that's showing. The iconography is usually pretty good. You must lose victory points to terraform the terrain. Yep. Lose 6. You cannot use spade to terraform regardless of how you gain them. Okay, yeah, whenever you gain a spade, you can move your pyro marker back, is what that's doing. And then with your stronghold, you're going to, at the end of the round, you're going to score 1 victory point for every different set of structures that you have, which basic definition of structures, or set of structures, towns, cities, whatever you want to call them. So like in the example here, there would be 3, so you would score 3 victory points. The only other thing of note on this one, I like the art, but for whatever reason, when I first saw this, I see a guy holding a fountain pen that has like a cool little thing on the fountain pen on the back, where I think it's supposed to be like a cannon or something like that. But if you also see that, good for you. And if you didn't before and now that's all you can see, you're welcome. All right. The Kingdom of Ember. This is another one. Both sides of this one, I kind of have to have the rules ready here because they are, obvious, as you can see, there's a lot going on. So these guys, they don't terraform the normal way. Whenever you gain a shovel, you actually just add another volcano underneath a dwelling. And then as you're playing the game, you're going to get more and more and more of those volcanoes underneath the dwelling. And it's called, what do they call it? Let the lava flow? Yeah, let the lava flow. So then what you're going to be doing is you're actually going to be moving that whole stack of volcanoes. And as you go, you're leaving the volcano tiles. So it's the lava flowing down, and then you can build on those volcano tiles. The action with the stronghold that you're going to get is you're actually, I'm sorry, I guess it's not an action, but you're going to put another, I think it's 2 tiles. Yep, 2 additional volcano tiles can go underneath any one of your structures. So you're going to basically, you have to build up the volcano tiles underneath your structures and then flow them out. That's how you're going to be terraforming instead of the normal way of terraforming, which is pretty neat. And again, here you're going to see, I'm trying to point out some of the things that are kind of different on the board here. So some of the dwellings, you know, that are not going to produce income for you. That's going to be one of the changes here. There are also, some of them will have different cost changes that, again, I'll try to get to when we look at them. All right, the Prospectors. Okay, so the Prospectors ability is you have to terraform using golden shovels here. So hopefully that shows up on the camera pretty well, as opposed to the normal shovel. Whenever you get a normal shovel, you get a priest instead. So however you normally would earn a shovel, you would get a priest. To get a golden shovel, it costs 4 money. And I believe this just means for you that every time you get a power, you get a point. But let's double check. Okay. Yep, in addition to being able to terraform or transform terrain with it, you get 1 victory point and 1 power for each golden shovel that you buy. That's what that means. So when you spend 4 to get a golden shovel, you also get a point and a power. Now your stronghold ability is going to make that 4 cost come down to a 3 cost. So once you've built your stronghold, it is expensive though. You're going to notice that here, 11 money to build the stronghold. You also get an action with that, and that is after you build the stronghold, you're going to take 1 coin for each trading post on the board belonging to other players. So that's what that action is going to get you here. And then in terms of costs, again, you just have the not having dwellings in all of them type thing. And you also notice here with your temples, they do not all produce priests, because you're going to be getting priests from shovels. That's the Prospectors. Alrighty, then you have the Time Travelers. So the Time Travelers is pretty unique. You'll notice down here, they do not score the round marker from the round that they are in. You're going to mark it with these little things here as it's showing you there. They're going to score the round marker for both the round before and the round after the current round you're in. They score both of those round bonuses. So for instance, and that's what this chart's showing down here too, it's letting you know which one. So for instance, in round 1, it wraps around to 6. So you're actually in round 1, and I don't know how, this is pretty small probably on the camera, but in round 1, you're scoring rounds 2 and 6's bonus, not round 1's bonus. So you're kind of playing a little bit different of a game there with them. When you unlock your stronghold, you get an action. That action just allows you to move 4 power from bowl 1 to bowl 3, which is pretty neat as well. With these guys, I don't think Yeah, everything else is relatively standard with them. Oh, except for you can't upgrade your, I always called it the build track, but I think it's technically the conversion track. You can't upgrade your conversion track. So it's always going to cost you 3 to manually do a shovel that way with those guys. Yep, already did the Prospectors. Cool, cool. Okay, so then we have the Selkies. So the Selkies, their ability is effectively here, I forget the cost, that's right, it costs 1 extra worker. So if you've got 2 buildings that are both adjacent to a river space, but not adjacent to one another, so they're both adjacent to the same river space, but there's a spot in between them, you can actually build a dwelling on that river spot. It costs an extra worker, which is what this is telling you here. It costs 2 workers and 2 money instead of the normal one worker and 2 money. And if you do it, you get 2 victory points, and then those are connected for the purposes of a town. Their stronghold ability, right here, is basically it's a spade for the purposes of transform and building, but you get +1 temporary shipping for that build only. So you can, build things across with those guys, which is pretty neat. And yeah, they'll use the ice, I forget what it is, the ice terrain that like the Yeti use and things like that. The Snow Shamans. So these guys are a little unique in that you cannot upgrade your conversion or your shipping, because at the end of every round, you're going to upgrade one of those automatically at the end of each round, and you get to pick which one. But you'll notice you're not scoring points or getting anything from those. It's going to automatically happen, and you can obviously choose, what way you want to do it. So if you're going to be building a lot, you would probably start with shovels or whatever, and then towards the end, your shipping would be a lot higher. Once you do your stronghold, you will immediately be able to drop dwellings on locations in different structures that are ice. So you can terraform into ice, but don't build on it. And then once you build your stronghold, for each different set of structures that you have, you can drop a free dwelling on them, which is kind of neat. So it's a one-time thing, but if you play it right, you might be able to drop 3. If you're going for 4 towns, you can drop 4, which is pretty cool for those guys. And again, you'll notice here that they are getting some power instead of priests with their temples, because you don't, I guess the theory there is you don't need as many priests, is because you're doing these things for free, and you are getting a dwelling with all of those, which is kind of cool. So that's the Snow Shamans. I did the Selkies. All right. Geologists. Okay, this is one of the ones that is kind of a little weird as well. So the geologists are going to be using these guys, which I forget what they were called. Well, you're gonna choose your starting terrain with these guys, and it can't be the same terrain as somebody else, but you're effectively going to be using the shapeshifter thing, which I don't think it comes with another one. I think it just uses the one, that comes with the shapeshifter expansion. And then you're going to put these things out, and these things are called glowing rocks, and you're going to be covering up, and I think it comes with enough to cover up all of them. And when you go to terraform, you can only terraform spots that are adjacent to those glowing rocks, I believe. And then once you do, you cover it with a glowing rock. So you're going to be putting these on and taking these off throughout the game, which is going to kind of limit where you can terraform. However, once you do your stronghold action, it gives you an action to place or remove a glowing rock. So that'll help you control that a little bit more. Let me just make sure with the ability here. Yeah, when you get a spade at any time, do not transform any terrain. Instead, you can either place a glowing rock token on your transformation cycle to cover a terrain type that is not covered, but is either marked by your shapeshifter rain or adjacent to another glowing rock. Or you can remove a glowing rock token from a terrain type on your transformation cycle that is adjacent to an uncovered terrain type. If you ever fill all of them as well, you can clear them all. So you're going to be kind of playing that little mini game almost with these guys. This was one that just... I'm not sure if I played this online or if my buddy Creed played these, but it was just kind of trying to get your head around that and, change how you're thinking about playing with this game. You'll also notice up here, obviously, you're not going to be increasing your conversion, and it costs 2 priests and 6 money to increase your shipping on there. So that's another kind of change with those guys. All right, speaking of changes, the Changelings. Now, these guys are weird, and I'm actually going to show the book for this one because it's better than me, I think, attempting to explain it. When you set these guys up, you're basically going to choose your main terrain. But then you're going to choose 2 other types of terrain that are not in use. And you'll notice on the board, there's A, B, and C. So when you set these guys up, like right here in the example, you're actually using 3 colors. So when you go to place on a type of terrain, you have to match that color. So for instance, if A is yellow for me, that is going to be a yellow dwelling, and I have to place it on a yellow spot. Well, B might be brown, and then I have to place that on a brown spot, and C might be red. I have to place that on a red spot. So you're going to be using those 3 different colors to build your towns. They're all considered yours, so you don't have to match the same color for the town. You're basically just kind of playing those 3 colors at the same time. When you build your stronghold on this one, it gives you, I think that's a spot. It gives you an income of 2 workers, but those are C. After building your stronghold, whenever you build a dwelling, you may either build the leftmost dwelling, so the guy down here, of your bottom row on your faction board, or the dwelling next to your stronghold, which in this case is C is going to start with. Whenever you upgrade a dwelling to a trading post, you may either return that dwelling to the bottom of your faction board, or you can put it up here. So it gives you a little bit of ways to kind of mitigate the randomness of like what color is next. It's not really random, you can see it, but it's getting you a way to kind of help with that, with the color management on there. All right, and I think it's mainly, yep, all the costs on these are the same. So yeah, those are a little bit more involved. All right, we've got the goblins next here. So the goblins are going to start with these little treasure tokens. You start with 1, I think. You might start with 2. I think just 1 though. Goblins, where are you at? It's alphabetical, Brian. You can figure this out. I believe in you. Yep, you're going to start with 1 treasure token. And then anytime on your turn, on top of the action, so this is not considered an action, you can spend that treasure token to get a reward. So, and the rewards are down here in the bottom right. What they are is for every dwelling you have, you can get a power. For every trading post you have, you can get 2 money. For every temple you have, you will get 1 worker. And then this is both of them. For every big building you have, if your stronghold is built, you will get 1 cult track movement up all 4 cult tracks. If your sanctuary is built, you will get 2 movements up all 4 cult tracks. So if both are built, you'll get 3. You'll also notice here, whenever you build a temple or a sanctuary, on top of the favor token, you are going to get another treasure token. And when you build your stronghold, whenever you build a town, on top of getting the town tile, you will also get a treasure token. So these guys are just going to be getting those treasure tokens and then using those at the right time to get what you need at that time. These guys, they were pretty fun. I think I played them. All right. The Children of the Wyrm. So these guys are looking for adjacency. With their special ability, whenever you build next to someone, it costs you 1 money less to take the power. So for instance, normally if you're going to get 2 power, you would have to spend, I'm sorry, not 1 money, 1 victory point. Normally when you're getting 2 power from someone building adjacent to you, it costs you 1 victory point. In this case, it costs you 0. 3 would cost you 1, 4 would cost you 2, and so on. When you build your stronghold with these guys, you're going to, gonna have to read that one. Because the iconography, again, is good. I just don't remember. I just read it not long ago. Okay, so yeah, however many power that you have removed from the game at that point, it's actually going to come back into bowl 1, giving you back up to 12 power immediately when you build your stronghold. You are then going to be able to use power. This is the action you're getting. You can remove, it says 2, and I think it's 1 to 2. Power. You can remove that from your bowls, and you can kind of use those little, almost little mini bridges to connect. You kind of see the iconography on there, to connect your structures. So there's actually, again, I'm going to kind of use the rule book here, because you can use the power to connect, like this would now be connected to A and B because these 2 little power are there. So they're little connectors, like I said, almost like bridges, but you can put them out pretty much wherever you want, where bridges obviously can't go anywhere. The other thing of note on this one that you'll notice, though, is every single building has an adjacency, I guess I'll call it a bonus, for building next to someone. It's really more of a detriment when you're not next to someone. So your dwellings, if you're next to someone, only cost 1 worker and 1 gold, whereas if you're not, it's the normal cost of 1 and 2. But you'll see the trading posts, those are the same. 3 gold if you're next to someone, 6 if you're not. But that is also on the temples, the sanctuary, and the stronghold. So again, they kind of really want to be around people to get those discounts, because otherwise, yeah, the prices are pretty steep for the Children of the Wyrm. Cool, cool. All right. This is where we get into potentially butchering some more names. Chash Dallah, Chash Dallah. Again, I don't know. But this one, their ability is they actually get you another income track down. I guess not another income track. Well, I suppose these are all income tracks, but it gets you an income track that as an action, you can spend 2 workers and 2 money, and you can move up this income track here. You're going to get all of this stuff that you're on and to the left of it during the income rounds. So that's basically what these guys are doing there. And then up here, when you build your stronghold, that one, that's another one that I think I've forgotten what it does. Or here we go. Whenever you use a power action on the game board, you may pay with coins instead of power. That's right. For each power token that you would remove from bowl 3, you can pay a coin instead. So that's what that's getting you there. It's just kind of a little reminder. And it gives you 4 money too, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that is the Chash Dallah, Chash Dallah. I don't know. All right, the Enlightened. All right, so the Enlightened here, their ability is you're going to use power instead of workers for terraforming. So the first thing you might notice here is you're not getting any workers from your dwellings. You're getting power from all of them. You're also getting power here from your trading posts. So you're not going to get any income of workers. So you're going to be using, obviously, the conversion rates and things like that if you need workers for other things. You're also here anytime, on top of your action, you can spend 1 coin to get an additional power token in bowl 1. So 1 coin will get you more power in bowl 1, allowing you to have more than the standard 12. When you build your stronghold, the first thing it's going to do here is your conversion rates are going to be different. You're basically, whenever you convert, you're going to get double what you normally would. So 5 power gets you 2 priests, 3 power gets you 2 workers, 1 power gets you 2 money. On top of that, you're getting this action, which is just going to be, you're going to gain 4 power. As a special action, you can gain 4 power. So you can move those around a little bit more, especially if you're getting more power up here than your normal 12. That's going to be pretty nice. I mean, you're obviously producing a lot of power, but depending on how much you have up here, you're going to need a lot of power. So those guys, I think I played them. Again, they all kind of just take a little effort to get through. Also, I'm just noticing, and I guess I should have been saying this, but it gives credit up here. Fan faction, for instance, this one is Dave Edwards. So Dave, I apologize if I butchered that name. I'm sure you're not watching. And Pascal and Barrow for the Enlightened. So that's kind of cool. Credit where it's due for the people who came up with these. All right, 2 boards, so 4. In fact, here's another one that I'm probably going to butcher. Dynion Geifr? Don't know. Again, my apologies. Their abilities are kind of neat. So first and foremost, you're just going to start with one of my favorite favor tokens, which is the one that makes it so you only need 6 power to build a city, and it's going to get you 2 fire movements. You will get the 2 fire movements immediately, and you'll just basically just start with this token as if you had gotten it. Also, you have this action where you can turn a priest into 2 workers and 2 money as your abilities there. For the, yep. Cool. That's when you convert a priest, which, yeah, effectively it's its own action, but it's technically when you're converting a priest to 1 worker, you would get 2 and 1 instead. When you build your stronghold, this one's pretty simple. You immediately get 2 priests. But the other thing that this one does is the ability with the sanctuary, where you only need 3 buildings to get a town. When you build your stronghold, it also is, if it's part of that, just like how the sanctuary works, you only need 3 buildings to build a town there. So you can have 2 towns that only have 3 buildings instead of 4 with these guys, which is neat. Oops. The Conspirators. Okay, these guys are kind of cool. I mean, they're all kind of cool, but these guys are pretty unique with the favor tokens. So first and foremost, whenever you gain a favor, you're going to get 2 money. That's their ability. Their stronghold ability, when you build your stronghold, you're going to get a favor, and likewise over here still. You can switch favors, though, with this action. Now, when you switch favors, you do have to adjust your cult track movements. So if you get rid of the, for instance, the one that we just looked at here, the 6 town one, where you only need 6 power to build a town, it moves you up 2 on the fire track. if you get rid of that one and switch it out for something else, you do lose the 2 fire on the cult track, but you don't lose the ability that it gave you at the time. So if you have any towns that are only 6 and you lose that favor, they're still towns, but you just can't do that in the future. So if you were to build another town, it would need 7 unless you go and you get that tile back. So this one's kind of nice for if you know you're going to be building a bunch of dwellings this turn, take your action and you can switch out the favor token you have for the one that gets you 2 points for every dwelling, use it that round, and then next round you can get rid of that one and kind of use those a little bit more offensively than passively, I guess is maybe a decent way of putting it. I don't know. So yeah, I played as them online, and again, it was very interesting, and there were certain rounds I felt like I used that really well, and other rounds I did not. Yeah. Okay, last one here. All right, the Archivists, however you want to say it. These guys, they do not get the round bonuses on the score track, so they don't get them any round. However, whenever they take a bonus tile at the end of the round, for every $1 that's on those tiles that are getting added for the ones that aren't being taken, they get 2 power for every $1 on there. That combines pretty well with their Stronghold ability. Their Stronghold ability, they take 2 bonus tiles at the end of every round instead of 1, or end round tiles. I'm not sure if they're end round. Are they end round tiles or bonus tiles? Bonus cards. I mean, they're like cards, but that's why I call them tiles. But yeah, bonus cards. So yeah, if you get your Stronghold out, you're going to get 2, and this will take both of them. So if you take 2 and they both have coins on it, then you're going to get 2 power for every coin that's on there, which also a pretty fun way to play them. And lastly, oh, I'm sorry, the one more thing, I guess, with these guys, during setup, you actually play with +1 bonus card. So instead of, I think it's normally 3 extra, however many players plus 3, it's however many players plus 4 with this one, or 1 extra. I think it's +3. All right, the Djinn. The Djinn are going to start with 3 of these little magic lamp tokens, which, again, come with the box here. It's part of our tokens that we have over here. And you can spend those magic lamp tokens to switch your spots on cult tracks. The exception of that being, if you're at 10 on one and you want to switch with another track where someone else is at 10, you can't do that. But because you can't, when someone's in 10, they're locked into 10. But with this one, if you're, if this round you're scoring blue, let's say it's the bonus for 4 power for every 4 blue you have, and you're on 8, and your white is on 1, cool. You can get your 8 power from that, from being on blue. And next round, let's say you need to be in white for workers or something like that, you can spend one of your magic lamps to switch those 2. So now you're on 8 in white and 1 on blue. Again, timing is going to be very important on that one. When you build your stronghold, you're going to get 1 point at the end of the round for every priest that you have on the cult tracks. That's what the Djinn do here. All right. That's it. So those are all the fan factions. I mean, that's it. That's a lot of new fan factions, and that's a lot of new ways to play the game, really. So for me, this, like I mentioned, this really revitalized Terra Mystica for me. I've been playing them on Board Game Arena. Between myself and my buddy Creed, we've played all, I think there's 14. I easily could math, but I don't know. Wait, 10 double-sided faction boards. Okay, so 20. And we've played them all. So I've seen them all played. I think one of my favorite one might be the Treasurers, but the sole reason that the Treasurers are my favorite one is because that's the one game I've played of Terra Mystica where I never had to worry about money. And I mean never. Right from jump, I took the bonus card, which was the 6 money, put that in my treasury, and then the next round I had 12. And I continued to put the money in there, which was nice. So, and that for me, I don't like taking the action of spend 4 money to get, or spend 4 power to get 7 money. Because you could just spend 4 power to get 4 money. So you're really spending 4 power and effectively netting 3. It's fine, and I have to do it a lot, I feel. So with those, I never had to take that. I could focus on doing more things, getting priest or putting, doing the terraforming. But yeah, again, thank you to Capstone for these. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping maybe we can do a play with some of these fan factions on the channel. The problem is Josh hates this game. Hates a strong but accurate word. And Tim is too good at this game. He's the only person I have ever played with where he literally built every building. He was on the top of all cult tracks, at least as far as he could be, because some of them other people were at 10. He had nothing else that he could do. He basically was sitting there, and he had workers left, he had everything left, and he had nothing else to do. He timmed the game, as we call it, and everything was maxed out. So I don't really want to play this with Tim. However, Josh Denmead, who brought this to me, he and I both love this game. We are never not playing a game on the app with a couple friends of mine. So if I can convince some people to play this one, you might see this on the channel, and we'll exclusively use some fan factions to kind of see how they work. But for the time being, I don't know when this is going to be available either. I know there is a pre-order up on Game Nerds, and I want to say they have something like March. If you were lucky enough to be at Essen, you might already be holding one of these, or if you were lucky enough to have a mule that went to Essen, you might already have this, because I'm pretty sure it was available there. But with the current state of shipping and other things, I don't know when this is going to be coming in the US. For all I know, it might, hit before I can even edit and put this video out, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So hopefully, if you saw something in here that you like, you can, there might also be pre-orders on Capstone's website for it as well, but I do highly recommend, if you're a fan of Terra Mystica, I think this is an auto buy. Even if you don't like all of them, and I gotta say, I don't like all of them. There were some that I played that just don't fit my play style, but there were a lot of other ones that do fit my play style that I really liked. So it's very interesting. It was very fun. And like I said, really refreshes the game for me. So thanks for joining me. Again, I've been Brian here, just looking at some new fun factions for Terra Mystica. So hopefully you enjoyed them as much as I did. And again, they're pretty fun to play. You can check them out on Board Game Arena too, if you're really itching to get them. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for joining me. We'll catch you next time.